The storm clouds rolled across the Montana sky. Like a dark warning the morning Noah Reeves returned to his late grandfather's ranch, a lonely stretch of land where silence grew heavier than the mountains themselves and memories clung to the wind like dust. The wooden fences leaned tiredly, the barn roof sagged as if exhausted from decades of weather, and the house that once felt warm now stood like a hollow shell, missing the laughter that used to echo around the porch. Noah had not been back since he left for college years ago, pushing away the grief of losing both his parents and the pressure of expectations he felt he could never meet. But now he had come because his grandfather, the one man who understood him completely, had passed away, leaving the ranch to him along with a dog named Rusty, who had been his grandfather's loyal shadow for more than 10 years. As Noah stepped onto the land, he felt a strange pull in his chest, a sense that something here was waiting for him, something hidden beneath the earth, and the memories he had tried so hard to forget. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and how life sometimes gives broken people unexpected hope, please like, comment, share, and subscribe so more people can hear stories like this. Noah struggled from the moment he returned because the ranch felt like a museum of everything he had lost. Every corner carried the weight of his childhood summers, spent riding horses, learning how men fences, and listening to his grandfather's calm voice teaching him how the land spoke in ways people often ignored. Now the silence felt loud and suffocating, reminding him that he was alone again. Rusty followed him everywhere, walking slowly as golden fur streaked with age, his eyes reflecting years of loyalty and unspoken stories. Noah didn't know how to process grief anymore, and every night as the wind rattled the windows, he wondered if he was strong enough to keep the ranch running or if he should sell it and walk away from the burden of memories that kept pulling him backward. But something in Rusty's gentle presence kept him grounded, as if the dog carried a piece of his grandfather's soul within him. The first weeks were difficult as Noah tried to care for the land while battling the pressure of bills, taxes, and repairs that piled up faster than he could handle. The ranch had been declining for years, and Noah felt overwhelmed by how much had to be restored. He woke up each morning feeling lost yet determined because a voice inside him whispered that walking away would feel like abandoning his grandfather's legacy. Rusty grew more attached during these weeks, often nudging Noah towards certain parts of the ranch, as if wanting him to notice something. Noah assumed the dog was simply revisiting old familiar places, but gradually he began noticing a pattern. Rusty always led him toward the far northern ridge near a cluster of giant boulders his grandfather had once called the Sleeping Giants. Noah remembered exploring that place as a boy, climbing the rocks, pretending they were ancient monuments, but he never thought much about it as an adult. One cold morning, Rusty insisted on going toward the ridge, pulling ahead with surprising energy for an old dog. Noah followed reluctantly, expecting nothing more than a walk to clear his mind. But as they reached the boulders, Rusty began circling a narrow gap between two massive stones, sniffing the air and pawing the ground with urgency. Noah knelt and brushed aside dry leaves, noticing a strange shimmer beneath the dirt, not metal, not glass, but something he had never seen before. It looked like tiny threads of glowing blue woven through the rock, like veins. Noah stared in confusion, remembering how his grandfather used to say that the land still held secrets even after generations had worked it, and suddenly he felt a sense of discovery stirring inside him like a spark in the darkness. For the next several days, Noah returned to that spot with Rusty guiding him each time. He dug deeper and found more of the strange blue streaks running through the ground, forming dense clusters that almost pulsed under the sunlight. He took samples in the town and showed them to a local geologist, who examined them with widening eyes and quiet awe. She explained that the mineral was a newly identified rare earth element used in advanced technologies and worth an extraordinary amount due to global demand. Noah sat stunned as she estimated the potential value of the deposit could exceed $40 million if the vein was large enough to harvest responsibly. That number slammed into his thoughts like a thunderclap. Not because of the wealth, but because he realized his grandfather must have known something about this land, something he never spoke aloud, but left behind for Noah to discover when the time was right. When Noah returned to the ranch that evening, he looked at Rusty differently, understanding that the dog hadn't just been wandering aimlessly. It felt as though Rusty had been carrying a final message from his grandfather, guiding him to what Noah needed, not just to save the ranch, but to save himself from drowning in grief and helplessness. For the first time since he arrived, Noah felt a flicker of hope, powerful and steady like a lantern in the night. He spent the following weeks meeting environmental experts, surveying the land, and creating a plan that would allow the mineral deposit to be mined in a way that protected the environment while generating enough income to restore the ranch completely. Slowly, everything began to change. The house was repaired, the barns rebuilt, the fences replaced, and the ranch transformed from a burden into a thriving, living testament to the man who had once poured his life into it. As the ranch grew stronger, so did Noah. He no longer woke up with the weight of despair crushing him, but with a sense of purpose he had never felt before. Rusty remained his constant companion, watching him with calm eyes, as if proud of how far Noah had come. Farmers and neighbors began stopping by again, offering help, advice, and friendship, restoring the sense of community Noah had once known as a child. He hired local workers, giving jobs to families who had been struggling, and donated part of the mineral income to support rural schools and veteran charities his grandfather always cared about. With each passing month, Noah felt the ache in his chest soften, replaced by gratitude and a quiet confidence that he was exactly where he needed to be. The ranch was no longer a reminder of loss, but a place of healing, growth, and new beginnings. Rusty grew older and slower as time passed, but Noah made sure every day was filled with comfort and love because he knew the dog had carried him through the darkest part of his life. Sometimes Noah would sit on the porch at sunset, watching Rusty sleep beside him, and wonder how different things would have been if the old dog had not led him to that ridge. He realized that fate does not always speak loudly. Sometimes it comes in the form of a loyal animal following the footsteps of someone you loved. The blue mineral became known across the state, bringing researchers, journalists, and investors, but Noah always protected the land the way his grandfather would have wanted, balancing progress with respect, keeping greed far from the soil that had given him a second chance at life. Please comment below where you think the rare mineral was hiding all these years. Years later, Noah stood at the northern ridge, watching the evening sun sink behind the sleeping giant boulders with Rusty's collar, held gently in his hands after the old dog passed peacefully. Tears blurred the horizon as he remembered the day Rusty led him to the first shimmering streak in the stone, the moment that changed everything. Noah felt no bitterness, only deep gratitude, because Rusty had been more than a dog. He had been the last living link to his grandfather, the guide, who carried a message of hope across time. The ranch stretched out behind him, alive and thriving, filled with green fields, strong animals, busy workers, and the warm heartbeat of a future his grandfather would have been proud of. Noah whispered a silent thank you to the wind, knowing that the true fortune left behind was not the mineral worth $40 million, but the chance to rebuild a life filled with purpose, love, and belonging. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe so more people can feel the hope and healing in stories like this.